everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I have my May book haul and wrap up. So I'm getting into my later stages of pregnancy, like literally we have like 4 weeks left, I'm pretty sure, until I'm supposed to have this baby. And so because of that, I have mentioned a couple times before in different videos that I'm going from 2 videos a week to 1 video a week for a little while until we decide that I can do more videos than that. Right now, that's all I'm really able to do. So because of that, I'm going to be doing my book haul and my book wrap up for the month in the same video. The good thing is I only have 4 books to show you guys today for my haul, so that should be pretty quick. We will do that first. I will include a timestamp down below in case you're not interested in the haul and you only want to see the wrap up. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today, so let's jump into the haul first. The first book I have here is the Nishan Smile by C.J. Murwild. This is actually a duplicate copy because I hauled this sometime last year, like July or August of last year. However, my copy came in damaged, and when I say damaged, I mean this slipcase and the book had a huge dent in it and pages were sticking together. So I ended up on the list for a replacement, and that is what this is. It looks so much better than it did before when I first got it in. This is going to be an adult fantasy book that is very, very dark. I don't know too much about it because it's been a while since I looked up the summary, but I do know that there's a ton of like trigger warnings and content warnings for this book on the author's website and I think even on Goodreads. I absolutely love the way that this looks. We have gorgeous like rose gold sprayed edges. The underneath of the book does have stuff on the naked hardcover, as well as underneath the dust jacket. All of the art is done by the author as well. They were originally somebody I was following because they do art for fan stuff, but also for some of the book boxes, that kind of thing. I'm very intrigued by this one because it seems like something that's sort of unique. Like, we do have a fantasy world with different races that are not just humans. I think there's a slight romance element in here, even though it is not going to be a romance story. And yeah, I'm very excited to have this in my hands. The next 2 books that I have here are both from Illumicrate. So we have the April and May books. The April book I did actually do an entire unboxing on my channel, so if you're curious about that, I will leave a link down below. This is what it looks like. It's a Portrait of a Thief by Grace D. Lee. This is very, very different for Illumicrate because this is going to be more of a contemporary heist mystery, maybe, sort of story about a group of Chinese American college students who are stealing back Chinese artifacts from like different museums and things like that. I've had this on my radar for a while, but I was a little surprised to see it in an Illumicrate because usually they focus on like sci-fi or fantasy, and this is contemporary. The May Illumicrate book is Book of Night by Holly Black. I've heard some mixed things about this, but I'm still very, very curious. I did not do an unboxing of this on my channel because this is how the box looked like when it showed up on my doorstep, and I was concerned things were going to be broken in it because it was trashed. The good thing is everything that was in the box came in pristine condition, so I didn't actually have anything to worry about except for like the box was horribly trashed. And this, I believe, is going to be a dark academia sort of book with like shadow magic stuff. Like I said before, I have heard some mixed things. Some people seem to really enjoy it, but then the book came out and there's been other people that have not enjoyed it and DNF'd it, so we'll see. I don't mind the difference of the cover with the original that was dark. It's very, very gorgeous. Under the dust jacket, it's very shiny as well. And I love that we do have like something cool on the end papers. So yeah, I'm very curious how I will feel about this one. And then the last book that I actually am hauling today is an ebook, and it is going to be A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. I actually received this one for free because I am part of Theyre's newsletter, and so every so often they have free ebooks. I have not read any Becky Chambers yet, although I definitely want to get to her Wayfarers series. Is that what it's called? The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, that kind of stuff. because I absolutely love sci-fi, and I've heard those are amazing. This one I think is going to be a different kind of sci-fi, but we do obviously have a robot here as well, and so I'm very curious. But that's really all I know. So I ended up hauling 4 books today, and like I've been doing in my haul videos, I wanted to give you a little bit of stats on how my TBR is looking. So as of last month, at the end of the month, I had 710 TBR books. This includes physical books and ebooks. I ended up reading a total of 9 books off of my TBR, both physical and ebooks, and I ended up adding 3 technically from the haul today because the Nishan Smile was already on the list. However, I also did a video where I was like telling you guys about all of the ebooks on my TBR, and I found one on my Kindle that I had not listed on Goodreads, so I am technically hauling 4 books today. So if we do all of the numbers and math for it, that means I currently have 705 books on my TBR. So it is now going down again because I'm not buying a bunch of Humble Bundles currently. Crossing fingers, we'll see. But my number is going back down. I think my goal right now is definitely to get it below 700 for the year because I started the year off not at 700. But yeah. Okay, so that is going to be it for the haul portion of this video, which means we are now going to go into the wrap up. I completely failed my TBR this month, and I did talk about it in my most recent TBR video. Like, I did not pick up any physical books this month whatsoever. And when I say pick up, I mean I technically did pick up a book that I had previously read and tried to reread it and just did not end up even finishing my reread. So everything that we're talking about in this video today are ebooks. That is the only thing that I ended up reading. I did read more than I thought because I've just been slumping so hard at the end of this pregnancy. But yeah, so I ended up reading 10 ebooks in the month of May for a total of 1,088 pages, which is much less than I usually do. I feel like I usually am at least 2,000 to 3,000 pages a month. It wasn't happening this month. Oh well. Of those books, 3 were sci-fi, 2 were horror, 1 was fantasy, 1 was contemporary, 1 was romance, 1 was paranormal, and 1 was mystery. I read 5 graphic novels or comics, 2 manga, and 3 actual, like, books, novels. 1 was indie published and 9 were traditionally published. 1 of the books that I read was an ARC. 3 were books that I had bought this year, and 6 were books that I had already previously owned on my e-reader. As for the age groups, 1 was young adult, 1 was new adult, and 8 were adult titles. And then as for the star ratings, I had 1 2.5 star, 2 3 stars, and 7 4 stars. So I did not have any 5-star reads this month, which I did also sort of feel as I was reading this month. I didn't pick up any physical books. I was only reading ebooks, and overall it was an okay reading experience, but it wasn't like I was having great books that I was finding. So yeah, those are all the stats. So we're gonna go in and jump in at the lowest rated book, which is the 2.5, and go all the way up to my favorite of the books that I read this month. I'm also so sorry if you can hear construction going on in the background. We live right next to a school, and because school is now out for the summer in Arizona, every single weekday that is not a holiday, they have been going at construction stuff. I don't even know what, but there's been days where they've been starting at like 5:30 in the morning with very loud construction, jackhammer, excavator stuff. So the 2.5 star that I have here is What Did You Eat Yesterday, Volume 1 by Fumi Yoshinaga. So this is one of those ones where I feel like it's a little bit billed differently than I really expected to get out of this manga. It is a slightly older manga. I think it was published like in the mid 2000s, like 2006 or 2007, something like that. But it's billed as like a sort of contemporary story between these 2 adult men who are gay and live together, and one of them shows his love for the other one by cooking him food, like lots and lots of good food. And the thing is, without them actually saying that they were gay in the story, I would not have known that they were supposed to be more than roommates at all. There was no sort of good interaction between them. The only time they talked to each other really was about food. The food looked really good, but because this is a manga about food, they had multiple times of just one of the characters like going through basically a recipe and like, I did this and then I did this and then I did this and then I used this and then I did this, and it was okay at that part, but because it was also supposed to be this sort of like slice of life romantic contemporary that I just felt like I wasn't getting, I was a little disappointed in that. And then also potentially because it was published a little earlier, also from Japan, we did have a lot of like very weird sort of like takes on gay versus straight culture, and some things were being said that I was just like sort of confused as to why it was needed in the book. Talking about, you know, heterosexual couples being breeders and like things like that. And I know like that kind of conversation does happen sometimes, but it definitely just took me out of the story, especially because, like I said, the only reason we knew that these two characters were supposed to be gay and in a relationship with each other was the fact that they told us. Like, they didn't feel connected at all. Then I had 2 3-star reads. The first 3-star read I had was The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. I actually read this for the 48-hour Bookopoly-thon, which I vlogged, so I will leave that link down below in case you wanted to see it. So this is a short story that I actually remember reading in high school, but I didn't remember if I knew what it was about. And it is one of those things where like I read it and I was just sort of wishing for more explanation for stuff going on, more from the husband, more from like the mental illness potential side of it. And so because of that, and I think because it was a short story written in the 1800s, it was just a 3-star for me. My next 3-star is the only book that I read off of my TBR this month, which was DJ Dangerfield by Anita Sunday. And this is another short story novella that is a male-male romance. One thing I do love about Anita Sunday is that not all of her male-male romances are just strictly gay characters. So the main character that we're focusing on in this story is actually bi, and he comes out as that later. This was a 3-star, I think because it was so short. It was only like 60-something pages. It didn't feel like we had enough time for the romance to actually develop. There was nothing bad about the story whatsoever. I was just really hoping for more because I have read other books by her in the past. And then moving into the 4 stars, because everything else was a 4-star. The first one I have here was my ARC, which was A Galaxy Next Door Volume 1 by Guido Amagakure. This is a book that is sort of a, I think, going into a shoujo manga. I could be mistaken, because I did not look it up. So we have some potential for romance, but we haven't really gotten there yet, which is why it's a 4-star. I was left with a little bit of like, where are we going with this story? But basically it is following a man who is taking care of his 2 younger siblings because his parents have passed away, and he is making his living writing manga. And while he's like doing this, he needs an assistant, and this woman shows up to be his assistant, and it turns out that she is like a princess from an island, but like it's a sort of like sci-fi fantasy world thing, and they accidentally like get engaged, and they're not too sure how to navigate that. There were some really cute parts, but again, I was just sort of like, where are we going to go with this story in the future? So that's why it was a 4-star. Then my next 4 stars, I actually had 2 of them, were Glitterbomb Volume 1 Red Carpet and Volume 2 The Fame Game by Jim Zub. So these volumes actually were purchased this year in a humble bundle, I think from Image Comics. And this is the entire series, so I did actually read Volume 1 during the 48-hour Bookopoly-thon, read Volume 2 yesterday because I just wanted something to read while my internet was out. And I am giving both of these a solid 4-star. These are actually horror comics that are taking on like Hollywood and being famous and how it is trying to fit into that world and that society, and they also put like monsters in it, so it's almost like personifying those kind of feelings. Volume 1 did also deal with like sexual assault while in the famous sphere. Volume 2 did not, and I think I slightly liked Volume 2 more until the ending, just because it felt like it ended a little too abruptly for me, and this is the end of the comic. However, I really liked the art style of it. I did like the commentary it had about Hollywood and being famous and that kind of thing. And so like if you're looking for some like monster, bloody, gory horror, I think this is actually probably a good one. Then the next 3 things that I read, I also read during the 48-hour Bookopoly-thon, and it was We Only Find Them When They're Dead, issues 1, 2, and 3 by Al Ewing. So this is one that I bought in a Humble Bundle last year for Boom Comics, and I, finally got around to it. I really enjoy these ones, but again, they're issues of comics that didn't even add up to the first volume of the series, and so because of that, we have a lot of questions that we don't have answers to, but this is a sci-fi series where we have these people flying ships that are like autopsy ships, and there are gigantic gods that show up when they're dead, and these people in the autopsy ships go and like harvest protein and stuff from their bodies to help feed the human race and that kind of thing. And the crew that we're following also is like, why do we only see them when they're dead? Like, they're very curious about where do these like giants come from. It's been years that they've been doing this, and so I was also very curious about like, where is this going to go? I did appreciate that we have some LGBTQ characters here as well, and like their main characters, you don't find out that they're LGBTQ until issue 2, but I really did enjoy that part of it, and it seems like it's part of a normalized society here. As far as I can tell, we shall see. I definitely want to continue with this series. And then the last book that I have here, which is technically my favorite of the month, although will probably not show up in my like favorite books of the year, is going to be Glass Houses by Rachel Caine. This is the first book in the Morganville Vampire series, so it is a much older YA paranormal series. I think it came out like mid-2000s, and it's about this girl who is 16, so I did classify this as YA instead of new adult because she is going to college, but it definitely felt like a younger age level for this book as well. But she's very, very smart, and she ends up going to college in Morganville and then finds out that vampires are real because she gets on the wrong side of like one of the humans protected by the vampires. We have some very interesting sort of paranormal elements going on, and the book ends at a pretty good place, and then it like has like a couple pages that leave it open for a cliffhanger for the next book in the series, which I think was very, very common back then. So I definitely do want to continue with this one as well, just because it was a very fun, quick read. I like a lot of Rachel Caine's writing that I have read before, and so yeah, favorite book of the month, but like I said, it's only a 4-star still, so probably not favorite book of the year or anything like that. But overall, I had a pretty good reading month because again, 7 of these titles were 4-star reads. And that is going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you guys like the combined haul and wrap up type of video, because that's what we're going to be doing for the next couple months at least. And that'll be it for today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos up right now on Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye.